Welcome back to Girls Only Sports, the Playbook. I am Candace. That is Kay. Welcome back to our show where we talk about all things girls and women's sports. We promise we're going to get more into girls sports. Basketball season is coming up, and in the spring, softball. So look for that. We're coming with you. Follow us on all social media platforms because we've been out there networking, with Raise the Bar, with watching
Shaking
them
hands,
win.
kissing babies.
Right, with Taylor, who's in charge of the Ohio State Women's Basketball's fan club. So, we've been out there moving and shaking. So, hopefully soon we'll have some guests on to talk about some more local things as well as everything that's going on in the professional world of women's sports. This episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the NWSL and the championship game coming up. Also, already smiling. The world of women's college basketball, we've had some really good matchups. And then we're going to talk about, women's sports, how they're growing. But the one final frontier is player salaries. And I think we're reaching a breaking point. So we're going to end that off with our X's and O's segment. Please follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. We get a lot of, interesting commentary on TikTok. So follow us everywhere, Facebook. Just to let us know your comments and follow us along. We'll get right into it in our full court press. And we're going to start with the NWSL. Look, I got hype.
Mm-hmm.
Come playoff time, I'm ready to go. I'm like a bandwagon fan for everybody. But I got hype. We got some really good games. But I'm going to hit you with this one to start off this segment. Kansas City Current. This is the second season where they are the favorite. This year, the overwhelming favorite.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Kansas City being Kansas City is what happened. And I'm so mad, Candace. I'm so mad. Because I'm like, the last show we did, I was like, don't say it. Don't say Gotham's going to upset them. Because then they're going to lose. Or Gotham's going to lose. Everything in me wanted to put Gotham over Kansas City because Kansas City gets to the playoffs every year and they do the same thing. But to be fair, this team this year looked very good. They had players back that had kind of been in and out of the roster for the last couple of years with injury and stuff like that. So I really thought it was this year, but I will say they were without Timo Chawinga.
Right.
Michelle Cooper as well is a huge hit who's been having a fantastic season.
That was going to be one of my questions. How much, with the season that they were having, how much did losing those two, especially, you only lost, 2-3 games the entire year, how much that went into them losing this game?
I think it plays a big part. I think it was they said they talked to Vlatko and he said you lose one, we're okay. If you lose multiple of those players, it's hard to fill those gaps. Especially, like I said, Timo Chawinga is going to be Timo Chawinga. She's going to get the goal. She's going to make the shine happen.
Right.
But the work that Michelle Cooper has put in this season, you've seen her get the call up to the U.S. National team in the past year or so. Those are just gaps that are hard to fill.
Right.
So I think that does definitely play a part in it. And that's no discredit to the game that Gotham played to get there. Because they also grinded out. They've also dealing with some injuries and things like that. But
But then again, when you're an 8th seed, albeit it's Gotham. It's not like they're a typical 8th seed. This is a team who won the championship, 2 years ago. So
as a I think as well.
Right. And they could potentially win a second title in 3 years. So it's not like we're talking about any old body. But was it something particular about Gotham that just gave Kansas City issues? Or like you said, this is just one of those things where you're missing your top player and a very serviceable player. And it's just in this kind of matchup, one and done, it's the luck of the draw. And for Kansas City, after the season they had, not to pull a WNBA reference, it kind of went like a little Minnesota Lynx.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. It just wasn't their day. I think hats off to Gotham. I think Gotham played an incredible game. I think Gotham overall looked like the better team out there. So that's just how the cookie crumbles. Kansas City, always the bridesmaid, bride in this situation for them. So yeah.
What do you think about, right after that, it was announced that even though it had been in the making, Vlatko, they had some leadership kind of transitions or progressions that they were already working through. But after this season and then not winning or not even getting to the championship match, him stepping down as a head coach.
It's unfortunate because you do look at Vlatko and see how he has transformed that Kansas City team and put them in the position that they are to be having the seasons that they are. But it's just something about that playoff push. It's 2-3 years. You kind of look like, all right, what are we gonna do? Shake it up. I would like to see them give it one more year, go undefeated again and lose first round again. But that's just me. But no, I think it was. I think it's a smart choice, and he's still going to be within the team, and he has created that winning culture around the team in the last couple of years. So I think it's good he's still going to be around the team.
Not to be left out, we're going to save, Washington and Gotham for later. But I did want to talk about the Gotham and Orlando match because there was some extra put on that matchup and had Marta logging in for the first time in a year. So, and it turned out to be a really, really good game. I mean, we got the game clinching goal in like the 98th extra time. But what did you make of that matchup? Even with Orlando too, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries and things like that as well. Barbara Branda was sitting up in the stands and not having her. But just that kind of matchup again, and that Gotham being the AFC, but Orlando putting up the fight that they did. Yeah,
it's another one where you're kind of just like Gotham. I think Orlando played a fantastic game. I think both teams played a fantastic game. Everything in me knew Gotham was going to win in the last minute. It's just an Orlando way to lose. It's just an Orlando way to use. As it got closer and they hadn't scored, I'm like, we're going to lose in like a 92nd minute goal. Like, it's just going to happen if we haven't scored yet. So, but again, I think I think Orlando was missing a lot of that attacking power. Like you said, Barbara Branda was out. They didn't have Allie Watt on available to play that game either, who was another attacking threat. So injury, you can call it what you want, but at the end of the day, Gotham showed up. They handled their business, and hats off to them. They beat two top dogs. So
I know, right? Like they playing a little mad that they didn't get to the championship last year. So they're playing with some added oomph. But we do get a rivalry in the NWSL championship. You couldn't ask for anything better. So we have the Washington Spirit and New York Gotham. Who your pick? Give me your pick.
Oh, my pick. I'm going Gotham. I'm going Gotham.
What do you think about them in this matchup that you're going with them?
For me, it's just what we've seen so far in this playoffs. Yeah. I think they have a little bit of a chip, a little bit of something to prove. They, they're trying to get the second one in 3 years. I think everybody on that team for different reasons has something to prove. Yeah. And they, like I said, I think they look good, and that's not to discredit Washington. I think Washington looks good as well. Yeah. But Gotham's got that little pep in their step right now. It's that thing when
you knock off the top seed, then you knock off the defending champs. Like, it something got a little feels, ego with you, right, something feels a little different. If there's anything, how much, we'll talk about her a little later, how much Trinity Rodman may or may not play. We know we've got an appearance. How much is her not being 100% gonna affect? Because it can go one or two ways. It can be next man up. We're giving everything we got, or we know we have this massive hole, so to speak, and we can't fill it against, like you said, just the informed Gotham team.
Right. For me, I think Trinity is always going to be a missing piece. Like, if you can't have 100% healthy Trinity and she can't go full 90, I think that is going to hurt you. However, Washington does still have fits. They have Corey Bethune, who, again, still coming back from injury last year too. But I think they'll be okay without Trinity. But having Trinity gives you an extra step that not having her doesn't. Right. Basically, that's all it comes down to.
Sometimes it's just the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's just the respect thing. Like, if Trinity's on the pitch, you're going to play You're going to play different with Trinity on the field versus not on the field. And that's really all it comes down to.
You got Gotham. I'm sorry. If you knock off the defending champs and you knock off the number one seed, I'm hard pressed to to vote against you. I think Gotham
Yeah.
has a point to prove by not going back to back. So they want to be one of these teams that get 2 titles in 3 years. So that comes on
Right.
this weekend. So check it out. We'll be back to recap that match and see if our predictions are right. We're gonna press right ahead along just to talk a little bit about some women's college basketball that is taking shape, some pretty big matchups. But also calling into question a couple of coaches. And I bring this up because Duke was a ranked team. I think they were ranked 8th to start off this season, and they've already had 2 really tough losses. The most, I don't know what to call it. The most interesting one is they played West Virginia, where there was a bit of a scuffle, and like every West Virginia player except for 5 got ejected. So they could only play 5 players in the second half and were still able to beat a top-ranked SEC Duke team. My question to you, this is like I wish I had it in front of me how many years Carol Lawson was ahead of this Duke team. How much grace are you going to be giving Carol Lawson? This is a ranked team. This is a coach who is probably has the toughest job come 2028, being the Olympic women's national basketball team head coach. How much grace do you give her to turn around this Duke program? Because they have not been performing well.
Very little. I'm giving her very little grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think it's about that time where some difficult conversations are going to be held. All my basketball fans, I think the biggest thing about Duke is defensively, cool. This many years and having a very anemic offense, like at a certain point, either you got to, get an assistant coach to come in or something, but Coach Lawson, like, look,
we ain't gonna call her to the front yet. We ain't gonna call her to the front yet. It's still early.
Her. No. Okay, I'm
we
gonna
give
her to
midway.
The front of the bench. Yeah,
yeah.
She like third or fourth chair from the bench. That's what we calling Coach Lawson, because you better hope Asia, Stewie, Fee, Angel, Caitlin, Paige, Sarah, Juju, all of them is at the top of their game come the Olympics. Because Ms. Ma'am, I don't know what's going on at Duke, but shout out to West Virginia and those 5 players and what they were able to do. Because that's just crazy. You play 5 players
that's unacceptable.
Unacceptable. But don't get me wrong, West Virginia is a good team and they've made their mark. So I'm all for them getting a ranked seed after this because what they did. South Carolina, we had a battle of the SCs, which didn't turn out how many of us kind of expected when it was announced last year. We anticipated a South Carolina team with Malaysia Fulwiley, Chloe Kitts, Ashlyn Watkins on the team, and a USC Southern California team with Juju Watkins.
Right.
None of them players are playing, and one is not even on the team anymore. But we did see a South Carolina team kind of convincingly handle USC. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but for me, SC, I'm just still working off the performance they gave in the national championship. Like, I know it's a new season, new year, but the only game I'm waiting for is SC versus LSU. But mostly,
I think everybody waiting on that one now.
Listen, but mostly I'm waiting for SC and UConn to have a rematch. Just because. Yeah, South Carolina, I can't judge you guys and what you do until I see you guys redeem yourself in the national championship game.
Right.
Lastly, UConn took on our home team, Ohio State Buckeyes. I would say it was a competitive first quarter.
Highly competitive first quarter.
It was competitive first quarter, but then, UConn do, which I call them, they're the greatest front runner in sports. You get them a little lead. You can't stop that rolling. Ohio State, obviously, their go-to is at Ole Miss now. Cody McMahon. So, granted, they don't have that. You can tell they kind of lack the size. I'm going to throw a question at you, though. What can OSU do because at this point you can kind of see the talent. I don't want to say talent disparity, but UConn is UConn. You know they're going to get top talent. But what can OSU do to pull in and keep recruits? To compete at a UConn, South Carolina? It's Ohio State.
This is the question we've been trying to figure out for 10 years, though. Like,
facts.
You know what I mean? Like, what is it going to take for us to get the top talent to come to Ohio State?
$20 million for the OSU football team.
Okay, well, that ain't got nothing to do with y'all. That ain't got nothing to do with y'all for real.
Like about $5 million to get, pump up the women's basketball NIL a little bit.
No, I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer.
We're gonna have
to answer it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a fan club member to join us to talk some Ohio State women's basketball, because it's not that they cannot compete. It's just Ohio State is a major Power 5 school, and they have all the resources in the world to be competitive. And we're only 3 years away from them running through UConn in the tournament. And I think a lot of us fans were expecting. Now, granted, this is like freshman year. I think it was freshman year. Cody and J.C. Sheldon was there. Yeah. So like we were looking for growth and, continuing that to get back to a Sweet 16 or to get even further, only to get, a couple of years later, a couple of big recruits, even from Ohio, decided not to go to OSU. And then we lose Cody. And, once again, we're on the wrong side of a OSU, UConn beatdown. I do want to give a shout out to a UConn player, even though it pains me to do so, but you got to respect the game. Listen, I don't know what lab they drew up Sarah Strong in. Granted, it's genetics. Her mother was an All-American from Harvard. Sarah Strong had 29 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals, 3 blocks. Listen, if this ain't Maya Moore Redux,
she picking up where she left off in that national champion.
Sarah,
I don't know what you expected. This is the exact season I expect her to have.
Sarah, she's gonna be a problem.
She is already a problem.
And then the commentator was like, Sarah looks like she's competing out here against little girls. I said, wait a minute.
No, you ain't have to do that.
Let's not do my Buckeyes like that.
Right.
No.
Watch that.
But come that, I think it's the 2028 draft, her and Juju, and don't get me wrong, Juju, she already showed us, I don't think she has anything else to prove in college. But whoever's going to make that U.S. women's national team, they got to,
yeah.
Sarah's coming.
For sure.
So to our She Did That segment, we're going to slide back over to the NWSL real quick and give a shout out to Jaden Shaw, who, I don't know, maybe it's the money, and that'll lead us into our next segment. She got that, I think it was a $1.25 or $1.5 million transfer fee to head over there to Gotham, but money well spent.
Money well spent.
Is there not a player playing in the NWSL right now, just in the playoffs, playing better than Jaden Shaw?
No, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find one. But for me, I think Jaden Shaw is like, she's a player that when she was at San Diego has like, everybody was like, you're like the upside of Jaden Shaw is about to be crazy. Like Jaden Shaw is like, she's still 20 years old? Like it's like how Trinity was. Like we talk about Trinity, like Trinity's been playing for 10 years and she's 22. Yeah, right. Like she's a kid. Right. So I think that and then
they
she went
born
to
in the 2000s.
Right. So then she goes to North Carolina and didn't really, like, she was coming off the bench, didn't really produce at Carolina. I think it's something about a coach and a team buying into you and believing in you and having that trust in you. Because I think she came into Gotham and Gotham had that faith that, we know who you are, we know what you can do. And I think it's showing in the way she's played in the, 6-8 games. I don't know how many games she played with Gotham, but she looks good since she put on a Gotham jersey. So,
and in the playoffs, you need a goal, you need something to happen, you get the ball to Jaden Shaw. So she did that. Yeah. And she is doing it. Shout out to her. But talking about her transfer fee, that will lead us right into our X's and O's segment we'll talk about real quick. I know we've talked about it a few times before, and it'll kind of be a continuing conversation is, the last frontier in women's sports, at least to me, we talk about creating leagues, we talk about CBAs, we talk about all this stuff. The last thing is actually paying the players, and how much can the players benefit from the growth of all these said leagues, the money that's being made, all the media deals, things like that. And this has come up during the NWSL playoffs because of Trinity Rodman and the news that's coming out that she's basically saying, I am a free agent to any league. The NWSL, the European leagues, it does not matter after this championship final. And it beckons the question, once again, is like, are we reaching that point for the NWSL of, with their current cap situation, can they afford to keep top players? Now, granted, there's avenues to have talented professional women's soccer players in the U.S. and in the NWSL. The question is, we saw Naomi Girma leave. We saw Alyssa Thompson leave. I don't want to say leave because that sounds bad. Sign with European leagues. And Trinity Rodman can be another one of those names that eventually heads over because they're offering more money. So what do you make of this kind of conversation around Trinity, and like the growing conversation around how our American teams, and this is all leagues, this is NWSL, is WNBA, is what's going on in volleyball with their 150 million different leagues.
Right.
Nobody is figured out a sufficient way to play the players enough where they can play just in one league.
Simply put, I don't think the NWSL at this current moment can compete with other leagues. Like you just can't. And I think that's what it's gonna take, is having the conversations of renegotiating these salary caps and reworking this money, and how I'll say specifically with the NWSL, how does the NWSL have more viewership, have more fan engagement and everything than MLS, but you can find the money to play MLS players more? Like, make it make sense for me.
Make it make sense. Well, you're right.
How do you not have the money? Find the money. That's what I'm saying. That's my thing right here. Find the money, because right now we can say losing a Naomi Girma, losing Alyssa Thompson, losing potentially Trinity Rodman. Oh, like, it happens. It's this, it's that. Okay, but when everybody else leaves, then what?
Correct.
When we lose every face of U.S. soccer. So I'm talking, it's different if you're playing here in the NWSL, you're a top player, but you go and play for Sweden as your national team. We're talking about faces of the U.S. women's national team. Alyssa, Naomi, Trinity, next Sophia, Mal,
and they're young, so we're basically just training and prepping our team to play for somebody else.
Pretty much. So if you cannot keep domestic talent, top talent here in the U.S., then what do we really have to offer? Like, I don't know. Find the money. That's my statement.
Yeah, I love the analogy, and also, I read a couple articles where some of the GMs were like, the salary cap is there for parity. But in that regard, if you, like you said, there is money there.
There's money.
More viewership, more fan engagement, more this, like, take a risk. If you pay more players, it could all, and you keep them here, the name players, you can build upon that where you would still get that same parity. Like, it's going to be a risk. And I know I'm playing with other people's money, but it's going to be a risk either way, to your point, where will eventually lead to the faces of our women's national team not playing domestically. And how do we grow a sport with every star that we build choosing to go play overseas, especially when we really don't see the return? So the return I'm putting is like, if we're losing our stars, no disrespect to any other players, what would it take? How much money would it take for Aitana, for what's the other one? My other name player? Alexia. All the players is on that dang Spanish the Spain women's national team. What would it take? How much money do you think they would even listen to a conversation to say, hey, we want the best players in the world, the 2-time, 3-time Ballon d'Or winner to come play for an NWSL team, how much money you think they looking at to bring them over?
I'm going to tell you what it would take for those two specifically is going to take. You got to move the team to Barcelona. You got to change the name to Barcelona FC. And then you got to change the colors. No, I don't. Don't think. There ain't no dollar amount that the U.S. can play right now.
Not a 10 million?
I mean, I think that would look nice. Yeah, like I think it would. Yeah, I think it would be tempting. But where's it gonna come from?
Yeah,
where's it gonna come from?
If they're already, having a tough time paying our players that we did leave.
Exactly.
We don't really have the mechanism to even try to pull some player or offer.
Right. At this point, we're development exposure. We're about to become a development league.
Right, and it's like. Maybe that's the way to look at it, is like, if we can't pull another league stars how they can pull ours, then what are we doing? What can we offer? How do we rearrange things? And I'm with you. And the same thing kind of goes. I know I mentioned before, like when we were prepping, Kat Macario, like she has a $10 million deal with Nike.
Right.
Like, you're going to want to play against the best. And if all of them are playing in the European leagues, granted, at least my $10 million deal look nice. If you're not offering what I'm worth to play for NWSL team, then where does that leave me?
Yeah. And somebody else will?
Yeah.
See ya.
And it kind of leads to, just to wrap up the conversation, all the conversations we've been having about the WNBA, which, to me, those things are looking, it don't look good. Although, we're the ones that are saying there's not going to be a season next year, because now we mentioned it last episode, Nneka Ogwumike, Jonquil Jones, Alyssa Thomas have all announced that they've signed on to play in Project B, which is a league that's offering players $2 million contracts, and these players are at the end of their career. You cannot tell me with a $2.45 billion media deal there's no money to play any of the top players, at least. You know what I'm saying? I think the last numbers, and we mentioned it, was $800,000 for top players. I'm sorry, if Mark Davis could pay Asia $10 million right now, he would in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? And how can you compete with that if you're the W? If I'm offering you $2 million for 3 months work, and you offer me $250,000?
Please.
I know we play with other people's money. I'll be happy either way. But
right.
Let me get on my high horse. You want to give me $250? Let me lace up my sneakers. But at this point, a lot of these the players and
they gonna all leave, and it's gonna be left to us, Candace. Yeah, right.
I know, we sure are. Because, a lot of these players are saying now, it was like they've done everything that they could to prioritize staying in the States, of saying they don't want to play overseas. But now overseas is like, look, we got the money, and we're not making you jump through all of these hoops to get it. And so these leagues, the NWSL, WNBA, volleyball as well, with their, again, 150 million leagues, is to find some kind of way. There has to be some way to be able to play the players, to get them to be able to stay in the States and, keep our homegrown stars here. Because that's the only way we're going to grow the sport. I don't know, I feel bad because we won't see Alyssa Thompson, her growth. We'll only see her every now and again when she's on the women's national team. That's every 2 to 4 or 6 years or whatever. So come on, y'all, find the money. And Trinity, listen, you Trinity got endorsements.
Gone. Trinity's gone. And I'm going to tell you why Trinity's gone. I'm going to be very impressed if Trinity stays, because Michelle Kane, she gonna pull a Jonathan Hernandez and send her over to Lyon for her other team. And I'm going to be mad. I'm going to say it right now. Me and Michelle going to fall out. Because right now, me and Michelle Kane locked in.
Michelle doing good work. We can't have you.
She got too many teams. I don't think we should be able to have multiple teams, because she got London City Lionesses.
Monopoly.
She got London City Lionesses. She got Lyon. She got Washington. She's like, you not leaving and going to another team. You're going to one of my other teams. That's all that Trinity gonna do.
You know, I'm not mad at her. She'd be like, Trinity, I can see you over there. I'll give you a $5 million cut right now. Listen, Trinity, I ain't mad at you. You make the best decision for you. But I do think the NWSL, they need to come up off of it.
Yeah.
Once again, that is our show. Thank you for joining us. Follow us all social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Let us know any other topics out there that you guys want us to cover and talk about. Anything. Sometimes we stay away from the drama, but if it gets good, we'll bring it up. Chat with us. Let us know what you think about some of these player contracts, how much they should get paid and things like that. But keep it cute. I don't want to hear, they don't deserve it. Nobody watches it.
No whining men in the comments.
No, you had the quote of the episode. Like, the NWSL gets more viewers, more fan engagement, everything than the MLS.
No, let me not shade the MLS. But who was watching y'all before Messi? Let's be name three name three teams in MLS other than the Crew.
Knock the NWSL and our conversation about player salaries, you got to name 3 MLS teams.
Name 3 MLS teams.
And 3 MLS players. Right.
And they start in 11.
Right. Since y'all want to go there. Yeah.
Right.
Give us that. But tune in to our show. Again, follow us on all social media platforms. Girls Only Sports on everything. Once again, I am Candace. That is Kay. This is the Playbook, and we are Girls Only Sports.